The film begins with an elderly and inebriated guy named Pfluger digging up a grave with religious inscriptions. He appears to be performing a rite of some sort. After a moment, Pfluger retrieves a person's skull from the grave, which emits white smoke and knocks him backward. As he rises from the ground, Pfluger laughs as if his duty is complete. The scene then turns to a teenager called Kelly shopping in a convenience store. We learn that Kelly has a propensity of chewing papers, and as a result, his classmates ridicule him by calling him trash can. While searching through the items, he meets Dominique, his childhood friend and crush, but is hesitant to speak with her. Outside the store, Kelly is confronted by his school bullies, Nelson, Tony, Reed, and Brad. They tease him for eating weird stuff like paper and styrofoam. Dominique intervenes just as they are pestering him, asking them to stop. This enrages the bullies even more, and they force Kelly's face into a trash can. Fortunately, the store owner steps in, halting the bullies and chasing them away. Following this, Dominique offers Kelly a ride to school. However, her friend Sarah, who owns the automobile, refuses to let him in, citing a desire to keep her vehicle clean. In the following scene, Kelly arrives at school to discover that the bullies had videotaped the store incident and posted it online. As he walks along the corridor, all of the students mock him. Kelly arrives home from school, and his mother, Bernice, asks him about his day. Our youngster makes no mention of the bullying and merely says that Dominique spoke to him for the first time. Bernice is pleased to hear this and proposes that he ask Dominique out on a date. Meanwhile, an indigenous man named Red Elk visits the grave that Pfluger damaged earlier and prays. It is later revealed that a secret power was buried in the grave and had been stolen. Red Elk is devastated to learn this, as it was his obligation to take care of it. Kelly becomes ill the next morning as a result of consuming excessive amounts of paper and styrofoam. Bernice quickly summons the family doctor, who proposes that Kelly consult a psychologist for her eating condition. He also suggests that Kelly may be acting unusually since there are no guys in the family. But in actuality, the doctor has a thing on Bernice and merely wants to be in bed with her. The same day, Pfluger appears in town, claiming to have the ability to heal people. He demonstrates by curing an elderly woman's joint ache. Bernice is also present, and she is astonished by his skills. Kelly invites him to her place because she believes he can assist her. While Bernice walks away to collect her car, Red Elk meets Pfluger and informs him that the powers are not intended for him. He also offers to assist him get rid of his healing abilities. However, Pfluger declines, and a brawl develops, resulting in Red Elk hurting himself. This is owing to the powers Pfluger obtained from the grave, which safeguard its owner. Red Elk then cautions Pfluger about the repercussions of the power, but he ignores him and walks away. After a while, Pfluger arrives at Bernice's house, and as he attempts to treat Kelly, he feels a weird sensation and swiftly draws his hand away. He then excuses himself to the bathroom and takes a specific medicine before trying again. Unfortunately, as he tries again, he accidentally burns Kelly's chest with his cigarette and falls to the floor, dying on the spot. Strangely, as Pfluger dies, Kelly's condition improves, and he stands up, feeling energized. The cops arrive on the scene and remove Pfluger's body. They decide that the elderly guy died of heart arrest. Kelly sees that the burn on his chest has miraculously healed, and he has also experienced some physical changes. It becomes evident that Pfluger's healing abilities have been passed to Kelly. Kelly accidentally slashes his finger the next day while repairing his back, but the wound cures quickly and vanishes instantly. He attempts to inform his mother about it, but she does not believe him. On his way to school, he sees Dominique and Sarah, who are surprised to see him looking so much healthier. After they depart, Nelson's brother Reed approaches Kelly and starts pounding him without explanation. Surprisingly, as he punches Kelly in the stomach, Reed feels the agony, but our boy is unharmed. Reed even tries to damage Kelly with a wooden block, but it doesn't succeed, and he injures himself. Reed flees with bruises on his face after realizing he cannot defeat this new Kelly. Later that evening, Gus, Reed's father, and the school's football coach pays a visit to Kelly's home to learn what happened to his son. Kelly explains that Reed came to strike him but injured himself. Gus, of course, disagrees and disputes Bernice's claim. Bernice, on the other hand, insists that Gus go and closes the door in his face. After he leaves, Kelly tells his mother about his power to transfer pain, ensuring that no one would injure them again. He demonstrates this by withstanding the heat from a cigarette lighter, which causes no harm to his palm. The next day in class, Kelly's mind runs wild when he discovers Dominique's hairband and imagines himself and her being intimate. During a threesome experience, he begins to think about Sarah. Surprisingly, the sensations begin to affect Dominique and Sarah in real life. Both females experience odd sensations in their bodies, prompting surprising reactions. Sarah even yells with excitement in the classroom. Later, at a nightclub, Nelson acts improperly by picking up Dominique without her permission. This enrages Kelly, so he confronts Nelson and begs him to kill Dominique. But as the guys are about to clash, Gus intervenes and separates them. He then confronts Kelly, saying that one day he will discover and destroy the power he possesses. When the party is ended and everyone is on their way home, Brad and his buddies come across Kelly riding his bike. They are still enraged from the last incident and try to shove him off the road with their automobile. Unfortunately, Brad loses control and hits Kelly with the car, running him over. The impact appears violent, but when the smoke clears, Brad's skull has been crushed, resulting in his death while Kelly remains unhurt. Soon, a throng forms, and Kelly privately discloses the situation to Dominique, including his exceptional abilities. Nelson and his friends lie to the cops, claiming that Brad swerved to protect Kelly because he was riding in the middle of the road. However, a preliminary investigation by police officer Adler clears Kelly of all wrongdoing. Red Elk, on the other hand, learns of Pfluger's death and pays his respects at his grave. After examining the dirt, he decides that Pfluger lost his power before dying. After learning of Kelly's survival after being hit by a car, Red Elk pays him a visit at his workplace. He confronts Kelly about the powers, and after some hesitation, she admits to being treated by Pfluger. The next day, Kelly and Dominique are eating lunch at a cafe and discussing movies. In reality, Dominique likes Kelly and wishes he will invite her to a movie night. To her good fortune, he does just that, and the two decide to watch a movie soon. At the same time, Nelson and his pals are frustrated that Kelly is moving forward with his life so effortlessly. They resolve to revenge Brad's death and teach him a lesson. After learning about Kelly and Bernice's schedules, Nelson and his buddies wait for Bernice to leave for her night work. However, she becomes ill and decides to skip her shift. Kelly, seeing his mother ill, urges her to rest and goes to town to purchase medicine for her. When Nelson and the group see a car driving away, they mistake Kelly for Bernice and attempt to terrify him. They tie Kelly's trailer house to their truck and drive it with full power. While Bernice is still inside, they mistakenly drag the trailer away, causing her to tumble off the couch. The chain fails to remove correctly, so the group leaves it in the vehicle after destroying the trailer. As a result, a gas pipe in the kitchen explodes, filling the house. Bernice, shocked, attempts to leave the house but trips over a lamp and falls on the ground. Unfortunately, the light catches fire and the gas ignites, resulting in a massive explosion. Kelly finally arrives at the scene and rushes into the trailer to save his mother. Tragically, he is too late. Bernice has already died. Kelly is severely affected by the horrible incident, and he mourns his mother's death in the fire. After a while, Officer Adler notices burn marks on Kelly's body and takes him to the hospital. In the following scene, Red Elk meets Adler at the hospital and informs him of Kelly's special gift. He advises discussing the situation with Kelly, but Adler believes it is inappropriate to delve into ancient folk stories during such a difficult time in Kelly's life. Red Elk understands the issue and tells Adler to contact him when the time is appropriate. Kelly walks straight to his mother's funeral the next day, having magically healed his burn marks. Dominique is there to encourage him. She assures him that sobbing does not make him weak, and that his mother is always proud of him. Dominique is disappointed when Kelly discloses his plan to leave town, and she leaves after exchanging a deep kiss. Following that, Kelly goes to Pfluger's grave in the same cemetery and starts eating a wild weed growing on it. He hopes it will take away his powers. However, as soon as he chews them, he becomes nauseated and starts vomiting. Sarah, who happens to be nearby, sees everything from a distance. Later, Officer Adler drives Kelly to social services and talks about his mother's accident with him. Kelly becomes certain that the trailer dropped before the gas explosion and was purposefully moved to break the support. At the same time, Nelson and his friends are driving their truck with no guilt for their deeds. They are going to the river bend to unwind. On the way, they intercept Adler, who is driving Kelly out of town, and harass him. When our youngster spots the truck, he recognizes who is to blame for his mother's murder. Hence, without spending any time, he leaps out of the moving automobile and silently pursues them to the riverbank. Later, as Tucker swims and the others playfully hurl stones at him, Kelly gently clutches Tucker's shirt and strangles himself. This causes Tucker to struggle to breathe and stay afloat. Eventually, he drowns in the river as Nelson and the others watch in terror. They run to aid him, but it is too late. The bully has perished. Kelly then arrogantly claims responsibility for Tucker's death. He tries to take Nelson's shirt, but Officer Adler comes on the scene. Kelly flees to avoid further difficulties, and the bullies do their best to explain what happened. However, Adler finds the explanation unbelievable, and he begins to accuse them of their friend's murder. Kelly visits Dominique that night and tells her about his intention to avenge his mother's death. However, she believes that getting Nelson and the others to confess is preferable than resorting to violence. Kelly also agrees with her remarks, and they share a tender moment together. The next day, Kelly deliberately irritates one of the bullies, Tony, in chemistry class, intending to force him to confess to Bernice's murder. At first, the bully remains calm, but when Kelly mocks his girlfriend, Sarah, he loses his cool and throws acid at Kelly. Unfortunately, because of his abilities, Tony burns himself and dies on the scene. Dominique becomes angry by Kelly's actions and forces him to leave. Sarah, who is weeping, meets Nelson at night and plans to avenge Tony's death. She notifies him about a vine from the graveyard that caused Kelly to vomit. They then travel to the graveyard to get it and use it as a weapon against Kelly. The next day, Gus drives his sons to football practice, and Adler observes the chain used by the bullies on Gus's truck. He interviews Nelson and Reed about it, but they deny having any information. Kelly then comes at the practice site carrying an electric drill and dressed in Nelson's attire. He then threatens to kill himself until Nelson admits to his misdeeds. However, the bully is prepared as he has brought cannabis juice from the cemetery. As Kelly begins drilling, Nelson sprays him with cannabis juice, temporarily halting his progress. Adler begs Kelly to stop, but he drills his knees, injuring Nelson before confessing. Dominique then arrives and persuades Kelly to stop the action. Amidst the confusion, Gus snatches Adler's gun and shoots Kelly in a fit of wrath. Unfortunately, he and Nelson are shot in return, and both die on the spot. Following the incident, Dominique persuades Kelly to relinquish his powers and return to normal. Adler also agrees to assist Kelly and transports them and Red Elk to Pfluger's cemetery, where a ritual is conducted. They dig the ancient cemetery, and Red Elk reveals that Kelly must die to release the energies. When Kelly hears this, he tries to leave, but a police officer shoots him, mistakenly shooting Dominique and himself. Kelly, mortally wounded, kisses Dominique before she dies. He then consumes the dead Pfluger's heart, effectively ending his power. Following this, Adler shoots and kills Kelly. In the final scene, police officers transport Dominique and Kelly's lifeless bodies in a van. Dominique suddenly awakens while on the road, showing that she now possesses Kelly's healing power.